and sometimes also trying to understand what other peers are going through. So perspective taking is also there. They're trying to empathize with others. So that kind of thinking that, oh my god, if I feel that way, the other person might also be feeling that way. So those are emotional skills. So we have self-awareness and self-management there. Ethical decision making. Ethical decision making actually allows the person to gain a greater understanding of their values and morals during the decision making process. When can we see ethical decision making skills being used in the classroom? When can we see that?
I think a lot of times in classrooms, students have a hard time. They cannot distinguish right choices from bad choices. So when they have to, think about the pros and cons of their choices is when they use a lot of decision making skills.
Hmm. True.
Helping peers.
Logical thinking. Logical thinking is the process of analyzing a situation to come up with the solutions that are rational and sensible. Okay, now we're talking about emotional skills, classroom safety, and actually emotionally safe classrooms. Then, what is the role of logical thinking here? Do you think that logical thinking is part of emotional intelligence? Seda, what do you think?
I think logical thinking is extremely, extremely important, as important as social, emotional, ethical. Why? Because it allows the child to rationalize their choices, and we are giving them the opportunity to come up with multiple solutions to their problems.
True.
Yes, helps people and children with problem solving. So you are giving them that platform to come up with multiple solutions to rationalize their choices, their decisions. And I think it's extremely important that we teach our students how to have critical thinking, analytical thinking, and problem
Giving
solving
them the
skills.
opportunity to come up with
Yeah.
multiple
Also,
solutions
it
to their
helps them to
problems.
reflect and understand the information that is coming, be it in form of somebody talking about something, someone teaching them a particular skill. So they question it. They try to think out of the box, which is very important. And emotional intelligence is also about where you're being assertive, sometimes saying no because you're analyzing the situation. So those things also come under that. Now, moving forward with emotionally safe classroom. I'm going to read this and then we'll be discussing the examples. An emotionally safe classroom is a learning environment
Yes,
where
helps
students
people
feel
and
accepted,
children with problem solving.
respected,
So you are
valued,
giving
and
them that
free to
platform
express
to come up with
themselves
multiple
without fear
solutions
of
to
judgment,
rationalize their
ridicule,
choices, their
or
decisions.
punishment.
And I
These
think
are
it's
the things
extremely
we all
important that we
covered.
teach our
So
students how to
wonderful,
have critical
everyone,
thinking,
to
analyze their choices,
know
and
defining emotionally safe classrooms in the right way. Now, in such classrooms, mistakes are seen as the opportunities to learn. Now imagine within your classroom, one of the child is not able to behave properly when she's angry. Okay, she loses her temper and she sometimes
safe
yells,
classroom
sometimes use bad words.
is a
Now, what
learning
do you
environment
think
where
when
students
students
feel
feel?
and
How
not
can
able
we
to
make the
behave
child
properly when she's
feel
angry.
emotionally safe in that
Okay,
particular
she loses her
situation?
temper and she sometimes
Safe
yells,
classroom
sometimes use bad
is
words.
is a
Now,
what
learning
do you
environment
think
helps
when
people and
how
not
can
able
we
to
make the
behave
child
properly when she's
feel
angry.
emotionally
I
safe
think
in
it's
that
okay.
particular
Loses her
situation?
temper and
A lot of empathy.
empathy. True.
Okay. So Often we as teachers or counselors, or sometimes as parents also, if some of the parents are also here, we feel like that we really need to correct this behavior for the classroom's discipline and maintaining everything, and we really need to tell the child that this is how you should be behaving, and that's where the fear takes place. However, there there can be a midway where you're trying to teach the child the proper way of behaving in the classroom, at the same time empathizing and validating where is it coming from, and slowly and gradually navigating, helping the child to navigate and learn good behavior as well. Emotions are acknowledged and managed with care. Acknowledging emotions. So we see that sometimes children would come and then they'll start talking about different stuff. Ma'am, we visited there and we had a great time. She told me this. My dad gave me this gift. So that kind of things happen, right? Are there any teachers here, especially elementary teachers? Kids are fond of you.
Yes.
They consider you as your role models, right? And also making it an opportunity to teach the class as well, to channelize it. Wonderful, yes. Using that opportunity to teach the entire class, and what it does, it makes that particular child feel belong to that particular community. So it gives a lot of sense of belongingness, and the child feels like, okay, it's not just my problem, but everybody somewhere down the line is helping me here, so we are contributing for a better behavior, better classroom environment. Okay. Every child feels secure, supported, and connected. Now, how can we do that? By appreciating diversity, avoiding any sort of judgments, and avoiding favoritism in the classroom. So, that is very important, and it helps children to feel secure, supported, and connected. Before I jump on to the next part, what are those strategies that you are already using to make your classroom emotionally safe? Maybe this might have given you some insights. So if you can reflect and give us examples, it will help everyone here.
To be patient and listen to what child wants to express.
Okay, wonderful. So we got one response. Anyone else? I'm pretty sure everyone is trying it out somewhere or the other. They have their own tools to make the child feel safer.
I think also allowing them to self-reflect without imposing things or without, trying to change or trying to change their behavior, allowing them to make mistakes and taking accountability on their own and coming up with a plan.
Yeah, that's true. Because we often say this is the right thing to do and this is the
Yeah.
wrong thing that you should be avoiding. Instead, making them reflect, considering they are equally intelligent and they also have opinion and they can use their mind, and it's very important. Okay, role of SEEL in creating emotionally intelligent classrooms. So there are multiple steps we'll be discussing. Today, we'll be focusing more on social emotional learning based strategies. Tomorrow, we will have a more practical idea of some activities that you can use in the classrooms. So some of these strategies are model regulation, lead by examples, and emotional management. So, for example, you know that the child is let's say fearing exams, okay, and you know that the child is not able to express because of multiple factors. Maybe the child was rejected previously, or there's fear of sharing emotions. Now you talk about, you're very sure that the child is having exam anxiety or there's some fear. So you take up examples, you make up stories, and you give them that, support, make them feel that, I have also faced, I have also seen, and you give them tools and strategies via. Okay, and it helps them to regulate their emotions. Use SEL tools. Now, how SEL tools help? We all can research about it, and as educators and counselors, we should be knowing that social emotional learning is also preventive mental health care measure. So it helps children to not only learn about certain activities, skills, and tools that would help them become emotionally intelligent, but also prevents mental health problems. So if you use certain tools, that would automatically make your classrooms emotionally intelligent. Like feeling check-in is one that we did in the starting. Very basic thing that we did. So you can also do that. Sometimes letting them share what they want. So having a circle time, so those kind of activities and tools you can use. Focus on behavior. So for example, the child is asking a lot of questions in the classroom, and you feel like, okay, I think the questions are increasing a lot, and the child should, now calm down, and I should ask the child to stop there. So using certain prompts that are not offending, and the child is okay to, stop for a time being. So you can say to the child that, oh, wonderful question, but right now we will focus on this. Okay, so using those kind of verbal cues that will help children to, you that will help you to focus on behavior, but in a constructive manner. Set emotional norms. Emotional norms, as in, let's say it's Neha ma'am's class. So Neha ma'am's class can have a chart that this class is emotionally safe, we care, we are kind, we are empathetic, and we use kind words. Something that would help your classroom to, have that visual cue in front of them, children in front of them, so that they can learn from it. Build trust. And how would children build trust on you? I, I think my voice is echoing.
இருக்கு.
Me?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Not audible.
Okay.
ரமணி வர சொல்லுங்க.
So we have built the trust. And how can we do that? By actually supporting children to share their emotions, and validating that, not judging them. So those things that we have learned, that would help them to actually feel safer, and you'll be able to build trust. These are 9 domains of social emotional learning that we focus here at NGN, and they're customized according to India's need. Usually, if you go anywhere around the globe, there are 5 domains of emotional intelligence or social emotional learning. We have 9. Number 1 is self awareness. Number 2, self management. Number 3 is positive childhood, which talks about resilience, growth mindset, and thought management. We have social awareness. We have social communication, which specifically talks about listening skills, using non-verbal cues to understand others, uh, using good words, and expressing yourself without considering language as a barrier. So sometimes we see, that children, we label children that her language skills are lacking, her communication skills are lacking. But the moment you ask the child to speak in Hindi, Marathi, Tamil, Kannada, the child will be, keep on going, and he or she will speak about it. So that's where I think it's our bias that we put that the child is lacking communication skills. However, it's just English language. So making the child confident enough to speak about his or her emotions in whatever language they're comfortable with comes under social communication. Relationship skills are there. We have cognitive skills, problem solving, and responsible decision making also. And we'll be learning about them in a while. Any questions and doubts so far regarding whatever that we have covered? Okay, then we will move on to the strategies. Now, how NG and SEAL as a solution we can use. So let's say there are academic challenges that are hindering your, environment, classroom environment. Because at the end of the day, when we talk about emotional safety, every other factor like behavioral factors, academic challenges, or let's say stressors, everything comes under that. So let's say there are academic challenges. So teaching self-awareness, time management, prioritization, and goal setting. So what you're doing, you have now solution-based approach to the problem. So often, we see parents would say that school should be taking care of it, and teachers, because they are having so much of curriculum and things to cover up, they also feel like that it's better that counselors or parents should take care of the emotions, while they are also struggling with a lot of behavioral issues in the classroom and they're trying to manage. So having certain strategies that would help children to manage their time, set priorities, creating daily and weekly schedule, and that too during that process when you're trying to fix their academic challenges, or there are certain academic challenges, making sure that you're not judging the child during that process. And when the child is facing any challenges, you're there for them. Let's say you want them to adopt new study habits, so participating with them in that journey. Maybe you have given them short notes to practice, so you also write certain short notes like that. So participating with them to make them feel safer actually works, and a lot of counselors and psychologists use it. They do a lot of hands on with children to make them feel more comfortable. And if there are any counselors or school psychologists, they can actually talk about it. Are we having any? Yes, ma'am. The PPT will be definitely shared with you.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay.
We'll definitely share the people.
Accepting failures. Now, failures. Okay. Failures are actually part of students' life, not just their life, our life also. Teaching them self-management and helping them seeking support, also using those failures as opportunities to learn, making the child feel that it's okay if you have felt that you have failed in one thing, there are other things that you're good at. So making helping the child with perspective shift, so creating positive experience by practicing gratitude. You can have gratitude journals, setting smart goals, so giving them practical tools and strategies, and sitting with them in making those smart goals. Celebrating small success. Let's say there's a child struggling with maths. Okay, I had a teacher in my school, and when I was struggling with math, so what she used to do, she used to give me one question in a day. She used to ask me, this is the formula and you have to multiple times you have to practice it before exams. And to be very honest, initially I felt that everybody is getting so many things and she's giving me just one question at a time. So I felt like I lack somewhere, and that is why it is happening. But then gradually she started appreciating that wonderful, see, you're gradually learning and you're going there. And even if I was scoring B or C in my tests, she was appreciating that, because she was like, I can see the progress happening, see, your formulas are now right. So what was that? A math teacher celebrating small success, and it helped me to boost my confidence. It made me feel okay, though it seems to be very difficult, it is not that difficult, I can make it. Have you ever done that with your students, or you have seen your teachers doing it with you? Anyone? Yes, celebrating even attempts. Very, very nice.
It's so important to accept failures, right? I mean, when we were in school, we had this vision in our heads that, okay, if you don't score a 90 plus, then probably it's the end of the world. And you had to live up to your own expectations, but you also had to live up to so many people's expectations. So I really want to know, why is accepting failures, or teaching our students and kids to accept failures in this generation, why do you think it's so important?
Very good question. I think, Zaheda, children are very fragile these days, and I would not say that they are emotionally weak, but the circumstances are in that sense where they haven't faced a lot of setbacks. So even when there are failures related to things that they feel are very very important, it hurts them. So when we are not supporting them in the journey, and we are not telling them that the failures are part of their life and they are unavoidable, it can affect their self esteem and confidence, and often children take extreme steps in that situation also, and it has been evident these days.
Hmm.
So that's my perspective.
I think we got a couple of responses. It teaches kids about adapting a growth mindset, which is so important. I mean, just a tiny failure can make you question your self worth, or it can put down the way you look at yourself, and then you end up having such negative thoughts, self harming behaviors. So it starts from there, it starts from the fact that we teach them how to be okay with failures, how to have a growth mindset, and how to be resilient irrespective of what comes your way. We also have, I tell my
Yes.
students, yes, ma'am.
Yes, actually, more than children, parents are in a more competitive mindset. They are
Yeah.
building so much pressure for even a 5-year-old child. The child has to top in all the curricular activities, academically also. So they cannot accept coming even second. So
Mm,
uh, I don't know where it's leading to. That fear in child makes a child to isolate herself or himself
yeah.
from the group. And if being teachers, if we don't encourage that child, no, like I don't know, the child will even just stop attempting to do any of the work, even if the child is able to do it.
Yes, yes, and
So
it happens.
we have to keep telling that okay, making mistakes is fine. We have to learn from our mistakes. So
That's true.
actually, I feel educating parents are more important these days.
True, true. And
Oh,
that's
ma'am.
where the pressure increases more, because the contribution, or you can say the causing factor, is at home, and the solution is, being used in the classroom. And that's where we talk about, having that conversation with parents when you're struggling with the child's behavior. Like, so making them understand what can be the consequences developmentally when the child will grow, and that perspective actually works. I have seen in a lot of our parent training programs that when we tell the parent that if you will do it right now, and these can be the consequences, that actually makes them reflect. Like, for example, if you will impose success right now, if you will make that competitive mindset right now, these are the things the child, it can lead to: the child will escape from responsibilities, the child will become lot of anxiety, so the creativity might get killed because the child will not
Also,
give good ideas.
Ekta, that is where perfectionism also comes into play, where the child feels that no matter what I do, even if I'm studying a simple subject, I have to be perfect. If it's not perfect, I'm not worthy.
That's really
Yes, very true, very true.
Yeah.
okay. So promote some supportive environment. I won't be talking about supportive environment because we have been discussing about it. Practicing mindfulness. Why mindfulness? Because no matter what problems we are having, often we are either thinking about past or we are worrying about the future. Making children learn about mindfulness, let's say we can give a very good example. The child scored very less in the exam. It was a past thing. Now, making the child understand that right now you can calm yourself down and focus upon your existing performance. So, giving that perspective that the future will be in your hand if you are practicing things right now. So, being mindful, making the child, do certain activities like mindful eating is there, and I would like Zaheda to talk about it because she gives a wonderful example on mindful eating. Then there is, looking out for any five things that you can see, five things you can smell, five things you can feel. Those kind of activities can also be done in the classrooms. We'll be discussing that in a while. That would allow your class to be calm and peaceful, making sure whatever that you're trying to teach and make them learn is actually going on their mind. They are
Hmm.
able to absorb it. Yes, Aida. Mindful eating.
I think for all of us, not just kids or students, even for us, it's so important to eat mindfully. I know that if I am working and if I've got a meeting in the next 15 minutes, what I'll do is I'll just take a bowl of rice, dal, and I'll just quickly, finish that bowl of rice without enjoying the food in the process. How many of you here do that? I think I'm sure everyone, when you eat, you're just trying to finish the meal because you have to get to work, or you have another meeting lined up, or you have some exam paper checking going on. But it's very important to slow down, to savor the process. It's important to enjoy the food. It's important to understand what you're eating. Be aware of the texture, be aware of the taste, the scent. What it does, it calms you down, it grounds you in that moment, and it allows you to be present in that specific moment. And this is a great activity, a great thing for students because a lot of times, what kids do, they have their screens in front of them, they're eating their food, but they're not being mindful, right? They're not being mindful of the kind of food that they're eating. If they're overeating or undereating, they're not aware, right? So, extremely important to allow that child to savor what they're eating, to slow down, to appreciate the taste of the food, to appreciate the texture of the food, to understand the scent of the food. And this is just one easy example that will make our children more mindful, more present, and more available when you're trying to communicate in the present moment.
Okay. Now we have inability to express and communicate. Have you ever seen some classrooms they're not talking at all? Like imagine you have entered in that their uh, classroom and you're asking them to express. Let's say it's the first time you are visiting. It's a new school. Maybe you are there. You're there for an SMT period, and you just want them to talk about something, and they're not talking at all. What are the possible factors there? Definitely, you are new. That can be there.
They
What
are
else?
shy.
They're shy.
Probably they are, the child might feel that they are being judged.
Mm,
Hmm.
So whether they
definitely.
might be wrong. So
Yeah.
Yes, yes, that's true. And especially when it's a similar situation that you can behave the way you want in front of your parents, but the moment somebody will come from outside, you become very disciplined. There chances can be there. Now, what are those things that we can do to help children express? Teach them self-expressions. Now, making them learn proper emotional vocabulary. You can use emotional wheels for that. And yeah, definitely. Once we are done with both webinars like today and tomorrow's, we would love to share certain free activities with you from our NGN Learning Shop. And I would like to talk about those activities tomorrow. So, teaching them self expressions, social emotional communication skills. An example of self expressions can be creating safe classroom environment, encourage self reflection, Zaida has already highlighted, active listening, incorporating painting, drawing, music to express themselves. Very important. Now, sometimes some children feel uncomfortable verbally expressing themselves. But if you ask them to draw, they'll express about each and everything in their particular drawing. Like if you ask them to draw their family, you can actually judge their drawing, that where is it coming from, what are they trying to draw, how near they are with their mother, how far they are from their father. So those kind of things, and that's how a lot of art therapy based exercises are also done in the classrooms and in the counseling sessions with students, to understand where are they coming from. Drawing, painting, music, to express themselves. So asking them to tell you one line of any music or any song that they like, to express their emotion. So those are certain things that you can use to actually give them prompts and cues and exercises to express themselves. Yes, Aida.
Now let's talk about pressure from family, friends, and school. This is something that a lot of our teens they go through. There's a lot of peer pressure. There's a lot of bullying. They want to be cool. They want to be a part of the cool group. They don't want to, show themselves as being too boring because they're constantly studying. So that is another additional challenge that, we as counselors or teachers, parents, they come across. What can we do here to support our children? Encourage a lot of social awareness and relationship skills. Now, a lot of times, our students are not aware, they don't know if they're being friends with somebody who's good for them, or if they're being friends with someone who's extremely toxic and is trying to put them down. Has this happened with some of you here? Because I remember while I was growing up, I did have a friend who would constantly try to put me down, who would put a lot of pressure on me, who would, make unreasonable demands. And that added a lot of stress in my mind. So even for our students, it's important for them to distinguish and understand a good friend from a toxic friend, right? How can we do that? We can encourage a lot of open discussion. We can ask them to talk about what's bothering them, give them a lot of problem solving strategies, use role play. If there's peer pressure happening or if there's bullying happening, what can we do? Through role play, you can teach them how to be assertive, how to say no to certain situations. A very simple example, that, oh, I have so many people in my class and so many friends in the class, and they all look at me as someone who's very popular. So I like being called popular, but they also ask me to be in discipline in the classroom. So they want me to hoot in the classroom. They don't want me to pay attention. They want me to make fun of the teacher. And if I do that, then I'm termed as a popular kid. This happens, right? So when that happens, you can teach them how to be assertive, how to say no. Pure education, how they can distinguish, understand what is good behavior, what is bad behavior, right? Yes.
Okay.
Now, coming to low self esteem and self confidence, definitely we'll talk about what can we do. But I would want to know from everyone here, what do you think are some causes of low self esteem and self confidence? We spoke about parental pressure. We spoke about the urge to be perfect at everything. What else can cause low self esteem?
Always discouraging the child, um,
Mm,
not being up to the mark, and
yes,
comparing with other kids.
yes,
And also, like a few children are very slow in expressing themselves. Like they take time to answer the question you ask them. So we being teachers, you have to be little patient and encourage the child. And once the child completes the task, just appreciate in front of everyone and make the entire class ask the class to clap for them or appreciate
yeah,
them in the way they want to. Probably that boosts the child's confidence level, and the child will be more active in further days.
that's true. Absolutely true. Some people take time, some kids take time to express. They're very reluctant, very hesitant to initiate or answer. So cheering them on or supporting them can really help them. Then we also they have this fear of getting bullied if they talk or answer wrongly, which is again the fear of judgment in their head. So there's a lot of negative statements or negative script that's being played in their mind, that what if I end up giving the wrong answer? Everyone's going to make fun of me. I don't want to be the laughing stock, or I don't want to end up being someone who looks very dumb, right? There are more and more children now with behavioral issues. It takes time for teachers to create a positive environment. Definitely, it does. So here, what can we do? We have to be very supportive. How can we do that? You encourage them to identify their strengths. Every child has strengths and every child has improvement areas. A child who's not good at communicating might be very good at expressing themselves through art or doodling. They might be really good at doodling, or they might be great artists, painters. A child who's very reserved and shy might be a great poet because they like to write poems. They might be good at literature, right? So you can ask students to identify their strengths and celebrate those strengths. You can ask children to identify their milestones, what they've accomplished throughout their journey, and you can celebrate those success. You can celebrate their accomplishments. How? Through a lot of positive affirmations. They can practice positive affirmations daily. Through feeling check-in, maybe you can start the session with a feeling check-in in a way where you're asking children to read a positive statement or a positive affirmation for themselves. Right? You can also guide them to set realistic goals and practice a lot of mindfulness. So these are some strategies that we can incorporate in our classrooms that will really benefit our children. Now, when we talk about addressing other challenges, what can we do? There are certain ways or certain activities. You can include a lot of project based learning activities, which are hands on learning activities, experiential learning. You allow them to explore, you allow them to see, you allow them to learn through exploration. You can have a lot of peer led role plays. If you want to talk about assertiveness, if you want to talk about empathy, do role plays. Ask children to, put themselves in the other person's shoes, to understand their perspectives better, to be active listeners, and a lot of dialogue. So there are stories that you can take, stories with social themes, stories with a theme that you're trying to accomplish, and ask them to use dialogues. Ask them to, take up characters and communicate with each other. So here are some more strategies, SEEL-based strategies that I think as counselors and teachers we can incorporate in our classrooms to ensure that we understand our children better, we understand where they're coming from, we understand their struggles a little bit. Yes. Now I think I have a very interesting quiz
Yes.
for everyone. Yes, yes, Amrita.
Sorry. I just wanted to tell you. Yeah, even I wanted to tell you about the same thing. Making children take decision on their own. Like we can give them options, and they will decide what they want to do and how they want to find a solution to any problem that they are facing. So we can
Mm,
tell, okay, there are two ways or three ways that you can go about.
mm.
So choose which is best for you. So let them be the decision makers, and once they reach, we can say, see, you are able to decide what's good for you and what's bad for you. So we can guide them in that way.
That is the whole aim. That's the whole aim of social emotional learning. We want our kids to have holistic development and we want them to be independent. They can decide for themselves. We just have to be their guiding source. And their guiding light, we can guide them and they can take decisions for themselves. So there's a very good quiz for everyone. I'm going to read it out and then you guys can also take 2 minutes, read it on your own. And there's a question below. I would want everyone to answer that question in the chat box or you can unmute yourself. Sarah has always been a shy and introverted student, struggling to express her emotions and connect with others. Sarah often feels isolated and misunderstood. She finds it challenging to participate in class discussions or ask for help when needed due to her fear of judgment and rejection. This lack of social emotional skills hinder her ability to build relationships with her peers and teachers. Sarah's academic performance begins to suffer as she feels disconnected from the learning environment. As Sarah progresses through high school, the demands and pressures increase. She becomes overwhelmed by the workload, leading to heightened anxiety and feelings of inadequacy. Identify the academic, interpersonal, and emotional challenges faced by Sarah. So I think we've spoken about academic, we spoke a little about interpersonal and emotional challenges. We have Sarah here. Let's try and understand these three areas and what can we do to help Sarah in this particular problem.
The emotional challenges will be the low self-esteem,
Mhm. Low self-esteem, okay.
and the academic challenges will be
There are no right or wrong answers. Whatever, ma'am, you think.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Interpersonal challenges will be she won't be able to manage her emotions, emotional regulation. She have difficulty in regulating her emotions.
yes,
Whether they will be judgmental. Already, I don't know anything. So if I say anything, if I ask any questions, they will judge me that I don't know anything. So emotional regulation struggle will be there,
yes,
and also the communication issues. As she is shy, she'll
mhm,
have that communication issues as well. And due to these things, the academic challenges are facing the failure.
yes. So, because of all these challenges, what's going to happen is going to impact and hinder her academic growth. Right? She already has a lot of negative thinking patterns in her head. That even if I do initiate and open up and talk or answer, might be, I'll be judged, I'll be rejected. So let me just be quiet. What happens as a result? She's not able to express, she's not able to communicate, and that's building up. That's causing a lot more academic problems for her. Right? She's not being mindful in the classroom and it's hindering her performance. Right? I think we have a few more answers in the chat box. Academic challenge self awareness. Okay, she's not aware of her improvement areas. Try and make her comfortable in class to open up. Yes. Interpersonal challenge, communication issues. She's not able to open up and communicate. Again, academic challenges, breaking down the tasks and prioritizing. We can definitely help Sarah with that. Maybe she is shy, emotional intelligence. Yes. So I think everyone's gotten the gist.
And
Emotionally,
probably we can help her recognize her own strengths,
yeah.
and also, as someone else said, like prioritize the tasks so that once she finishes each task, her self
Mm,
confidence boosts up. So
yeah.
that might be helpful for her.
Prioritization. Yes. Prioritization, setting realistic goals for her, and appreciating her in the process. Right? Yes.
Yeah, I think we are almost done with today's session, and we are open for any questions related to today's topics that we have covered. A lot of tools will be there tomorrow as well. We'll be talking about formal and informal social emotional learning curriculum
Mm.
strategies that you can use in the classrooms. And there are certain freebies at the end of the webinar, and that we would like you to use in your classroom practice and give us the feedback how your activities went. And so, yeah, we are open for discussing the same. If you can share any questions, doubts, or even feedback for today.
Yes.
We are open for
Even
that.
feedback. Yeah.
No questions right now, but it was a wonderful session. Thank you so much. And I'm very excited to know the tools and other things that you're going to tell us tomorrow. Eagerly waiting for it. Thank you.
Definitely.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you
We'll
so
see you
much.
tomorrow. Thank you. We'll see you tomorrow, everybody.
See you tomorrow at 4. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. See you tomorrow, everyone. Thank you for the feedbacks.
Thank you. Thank
Thank you
you.
so much, ma'am.